Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Luna and the Druid. Today we are at Holly Cottage, Collegeford, with my friend Mel Murphy Medium. She runs the Holly Cottage, the spiritual center, and Mel is a medium, a good friend of mine. We work together a lot. I do tarot readings in the cottage as well. You are a cherished member of our Druid Grove, the Grove of Anu, and tonight we're gonna talk about what it is to be a medium. We tell our listeners and viewers how mediumship works, how you work as a medium. I can tell you, people that I meet, and they thought when you come in the question, it's always Mel. She's the real deal. Mel, the real deal. So first question, Mel, what brought you to become a medium? How did you become a medium? When was that? When you had your first experience, and how did you grow into a medium?
That's a great question to start with, and I'm really glad to have you here, Jan, in Holly Cottage to have this night together, to have this chat, and to allow people to get to know me and to get to know what we do here at the Holistic Training Center as well. It's a very special place, and I'm very lucky to have it. And I can tell you a little bit more about that later on. But in answer to Jan's question, when I was really young, I always felt that I always felt different. I always felt that there was more to life than what was being portrayed. I always felt there was more magic than people were speaking about. My grandmother lived with us when we were young, and she used to talk about things that I remember now that, made sense to me. They make sense to me now. When I was a young teenager, I grew up in North Cork, and there's a castle. It was called Castle Widdenham, and it was caretaken by my uncle, and my grandfather worked there as well. So there's a long connection in the family with the castle. So it was being renovated to become a hotel, and became the Blackwater Valley Hotel. But while it was being renovated, I was brought in to work there, which seems crazy. I was only 13, and I was working there, tending with the builders, making them tea mostly, and brushing things up. And it was very funny, actually. I enjoyed it. They treated me really nicely. But I always felt different parts of the castle had cold spots, had really cold spots, and I could feel the energy changes as I moved through the rooms of the castle, and it was known in the area to be haunted, so it didn't surprise me. And one day when I was working there, when the castle had opened as a hotel, I came in early to help to prepare the breakfast. So this was 7:00 in the morning. There was nobody else around. And there was all of these sounds of horses and like a hunt that was going on in the courtyard. And there was nobody around, and all the gates were shut. And I asked my uncle about it later on, and he said there was nobody up in the courtyard, and there couldn't have been anybody up there because there's no other way in except the gate that you were looking at that was closed. And it was then I realized that I had an encounter with spirit, that it was obviously a hunt going back possibly 50 or more years that I had been listening to, that I had been witnessing. So I understood later that was my clairaudience, that was very strong clairaudience that I had. And it didn't scare me. It just intrigued me that nobody else could validate what I had experienced, But there was all sorts of strange happenings in that castle, in the hotel, when it was opened. And it didn't stay open as a hotel. I think that the strange happenings continued. So that's how I grew up. I grew up being open. And even though my uncles and some of my family members wouldn't even go into the castle, it just intrigued me. I loved it. There was a well there, and we used to go down the steps of the well, 100 steps down to the bottom of the well with candles. And those sort of things were just natural to me. There was no fear, you know. And I could feel the cold spots, and I could feel the spirit, and it just felt natural and normal to me, you know. So if I fast forward a little bit, then when I got older, what happened was my sister died when she was very young. She was 22. I was only 21, and she never left me. I always felt her presence. I always felt her with me, and it was just as much fun as when she was here. When she was gone, it felt the same to me. And she would come to me in dreams, and we would communicate. And to this day, she helps my students. And if you talk to any of my students, they all know my sister, because she comes through, and she's one of the helping spirits in our teaching, in our lessons. So that's when, I suppose, it was through my own healing and through my own loss and my own grief that I discovered that this was something that I could do, but not only that I could do, but that I could help others through their grief and through their feeling of separation from spirit. So that's sort of what started me off, you know. That's where it all began for me when I was quite young.
Yeah. And so it came natural.
Yeah.
But did you get some kind of training?
Oh yeah, plenty of it.
Yeah.
I kept asking Spirit to show me the best teachers, the teachers that I was going to learn from. And I was very lucky to have a great teacher locally in the city, Nora Desmond. And she used to run a wonderful circle. And so I sat in her circle for development for over a year and a half. And then there was other mediums that would come to teach as well from all over the country, and they would set up courses and classes, and I joined in them. When developing mediumship, there isn't really, you know, it's about dedication, and it's about commitment, and it's about learning to know yourself in your own spirit as much as it is about learning to work with the spirit world or the spiritual realm. So there's a lot of unfolding that goes on all levels. So with all the teachers that I trained with, I learned so much, and I quickly started to offer my services for mediumship sittings, for evidential mediumship. I think I might describe what an evidential mediumship
yes, please
is.
do.
Will I do that?
Yeah,
because
of course.
I get so used to, I know what I'm talking about, that I forget that there's others that may not really understand what an evidential mediumship reading is. So there's a purpose. There's many purposes to a mediumship reading. One, I suppose, the most important thing is for healing. That's the most important thing. To help people when they're grieving, to help people to know that there is something more beyond the physical. Also to help us to face our own death, you know, that we go on.
So in this mediumship, you connect with their loved ones that passed away. Okay.
So in an evidential mediumship reading, I would connect with people's loved ones that would have passed away, and that would give them healing. It would help them to understand the world of spirit, but also to give evidence that they continue beyond the physical world. Yeah. And that's what we bring, evidence that is the case.
And with evidence, you mean that you get messages that you couldn't have known, but that they know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Simple things like how you know, from where they worked and their favorite food, to really abstract things like annoying habits that they had, you know, really abstract things. So it's one of the sittings that I offer. I have a very different way of working. Because I trained as a trance medium as well, when I do an evidential sitting with people, what happens is I have a deeper blend with the individuals in spirit. So it's almost like they're sitting in front of you. It's almost like you can feel their essence with you. So their mannerisms come through me, their facial expressions, their posture, even the way they would sit or jiggle around, all of those sort of typical things from your loved ones, you'll see in the way that I'm working, because they come really close to me and they blend with my energy, and they impress upon me their feelings and their emotions and their characteristics. And that's what you see when you're sitting with me. That's what you see. Wow. So it is a beautiful experience for me, but also for the people that sit with me.
Yeah.
Hand on heart.
Hand on heart.
Hand on heart.
What I remember, I've done some sessions with you, shamanic sessions, trance meditations, and mediumship introductions. So we're working with that as well. What always strikes me that you bring up someone named Alexander. Who is that?
Oh yes, he's my best friend. That's who he is. He's my spirit guide. So Alexander is my spirit guide, and it was when I started doing meditation classes many years ago. This would be when I was about 27, maybe. I looked for a meditation class. I found one straight away, as you do, when everything was in alignment. And found a wonderful woman, and she was teaching meditation, and she brought us on a journey to connect with our spirit guides. So I connected with the being that I called Alexander. He was a typical looking guide, long beard, long white hair, piercing eyes, but a wonderful energy, a loving, supporting energy, a no-nonsense energy. That's the way he came. And he came, I remember the first time I met him, "What kept you?" he said to me. What kept you? Okay, I'm here now, you know. Yeah. So over the course of the years, I have built a very strong rapport with him and a very strong connection with him. And he has become, he's my sounding board. He's my go-to. He's the voice in my head. When I have a question, he's the voice in my head. I blend with him. So just to explain that a little bit more. So when we, as a trance medium, spirit doesn't need to come into my physical body to be able to communicate through me. Okay. If you imagine if you were a spirit, right, and you had, you no longer had to wear this physical body, would you like to go back into one? Not really. It's like taking off a heavy overcoat. So when my guide Alexander blends with me, he blends with my auric field. I share my mind with him, and he impresses upon me what he wants to say and what he wants to bring forward for the people that I'm working with, or through my teachings. So it's a blending of spirit to spirit. That's what it is. So when I'm teaching, Alexander is the one that's doing the teaching. The more I can get out of the way, the better quality of teaching that comes through, because I'm not involved. It's him that's teaching, and he's coming direct from spirit.
You could say you're channeling him.
I guess, yeah. You could say that, yeah.
He speaks through your mouth. Okay.
Yeah. So people often say to me, I don't remember the sessions that I have with people, whether it's a healing session or a mediumship session, because I'm not there as such. Okay. I've moved my awareness away so much.
You get out of the way.
That I get out of the way, and that it flows through me. It's wonderful. Yeah. It's wonderful, because it just feels pure and straightforward. And I'll often say things, and I'll ask my students, please remind me that that was said, because I'll have no recollection of it. But I'll have heard myself saying it, which would be Alexander saying, and that's so good. that was so good. That was such a good line, you know. But of course, it's not coming from me, you know.
Well, you're still the real deal.
I'm still sitting there doing it anyway,
yeah,
somehow.
Yeah. And you mentioned that your first experiences were clairaudience.
Yes.
Is that your main way of going, or have you more clairs?
I often say to my students, I fire on all cylinders.
All cylinders.
So I have them all going on. I have them all going on. I suppose the clairvoyance would be my strongest, and clairaudience would be my strongest as well. But I can work with the other clairs equally. Okay. It depends on what is coming forward, what's stepping in, you know.
Yeah, I know a bit of the differences, because I have clairvoyance myself a bit, and when I a couple of years ago developed a small ailment in my ear, and so the high notes, high pitches were gone in my right ear, and that's when the messages came through. And I know they're not sounds, but they manifest as sounds.
Yeah,
that's how clairaudience works, of course.
You
know it's not a sound.
Yeah,
but it comes through that organ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
exactly.
like you know that what you're seeing is different.
Yes.
But still, you're seeing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Impressive, isn't it?
It is. I would, I would encourage everybody to open as much as they can, and to find ways to open up the chakras so that they can have these experiences, because we're all born with those abilities. We just close down. We close down as we get older in life, you know.
So if anyone wants to have this discussion, they just book you on a one-on-one session.
Yeah,
that's how you work.
That's how
a healing session or a connection session or whatever is necessary, what the client needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I also you also do group sessions.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a bit on how that goes? Because that's very interesting. It's interesting. It's low level. It's easy. It's not scary.
Okay. Yes.
So it can be scary, I think, for some people. The trance session can be scary.
So so for instance, I offered a trance healing and evidential mediumship session 2 weeks ago, and typically I started all day. Typically I would have started with evidential mediumship and then done the healing afterwards, but my guide Alexander switched it around and he said, no, you do the healing first. So I do have arguments with Alexander quite a lot, you know, because I want it done my way, but he says it's this way. So we started with trance healing, and during the trance healing, Alexander spoke to the audience that were there as well. What that meant was that everybody received healing, because Spirit knows what people need, and I just become a channel for the energy that flows directly from Spirit. The other advantage of that is that when I get out of the way enough, Alexander can speak to the individuals in the audience on a group level, but people tell me afterwards, I really thought that Alexander was speaking directly to me, you know, and that's how we can work on a group level, because there's always a common theme, but Alexander will say exactly what needs to be heard.
Yeah.
So that would have been the trance part of it, and then we would have had done the evidential mediumship as well, which is interesting because before the session, Alexander told me that there was going to be 3 fathers that will come in and 2 mothers. So I didn't have to do much. I did. Am I joking? That's harder when you know what's going to happen and you have to place who the link is for. But it was a beautiful evening, because the people that were there, some people had never been to a mediumship reading before, and they were really touched. Everybody was touched by the love in the room. And that's what I aim to do, is to bring love into the space and to remind people that we can love. our loved ones, even if we're grieving for them, that the love is still as strong as ever. I get teary now, but it is. Love is as strong as ever.
It's lovely to see a few people here in the chat. We have our friend Magdalena. We have Claire, who is they're the regulars on our show. But we have Karen, my wife, says hi to you. We have Kim. Hi, Kim. We have Mark from Santiago de Chile. So it's winter where he is now.
Winter.
Yeah. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. And you know Mark, of course.
I do, of course. Yeah.
And we have David and Susan from Killarney. So there's a good number of people in the chat. There's more people online. I can't see all their names, but the ones that are in the chat and say hi are there.
And Sophia.
What we also do later in the talk, we do listeners' questions. So if you have any questions, you can already put them in the questions for Mel. Put them in the chat, and we'll answer them at the end of the show.
Great. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I see you using various modalities.
Yes.
I see you as a medium, as a evidential mediumship, things like that. Lots of the things you're doing is also shamanic in nature, shamanistic in nature. I see you using elements from Druidry, from the local Irish tradition. Maybe there's even more. Can you elaborate a bit about that? How you blend all these influences in your work?
Okay, so I really do what I'm drawn to doing, and I'll go with whatever I feel is right. I trained in shamanism with several different shamanic teachers abroad and here in Ireland as well. And I trained with Ian in Druidism as well, which I absolutely love. To me, however I can be of service is how I work. So whether it's through ceremony or ritual, whether it's land or house clearing, or the one-to-one shamanic sessions, I love doing every aspect of it. And things overlap all of the time. They really do. One of my favorites, I love the land and house clearing, and I'm continuing to train in that as well. One of the ceremonies that we do here on a regular basis is a white thorn tea ceremony. And so it happens once a month. When the weather is good, we have a beautiful fire ceremony area at the back of the cottage here, and we have it outdoors and we have a fire. I've been doing it with my husband, Dan, for nearly 2 years now, and I'm a certified white thorn tea facilitator, actually, that's what I am as well. But so we gathered the white thorn in the spring and before the fall, so twice a year. So at the moment I have gathered it when the blossom comes on the trees. That's when it's most potent. So we work with it for healing the heart. It's our native heart medicine. So we work to help people to heal their grief, to heal their betrayal, their loss, their loneliness. So it's really heart energy that we're working in. So, a lot of people will come for mediumship healing, trance healing, working with the heart, and they'll go to do the white thorn tea. There's a lovely continuation of ways that people can heal whatever's going on with them. So there's 2 specific journeys that we do at the white thorn tea. We do a journey to connect with the spirit of the white thorn. Beautiful, beautiful energy. And then we drink the tea in ceremony and ritual. And we do a second journey into the heart center. So we journey right into the heart center and we work at clearing out the heart. That's fun.
One type of ceremony.
It's one type of ceremony, Then we have the fire, and we throw whatever we don't want into the fire, and we make lots of noise, and we do lots of singing, and we have poetry, and we dance.
Drumming?
And drumming, of course.
Oh, yes.
Drumming, of course.
I mean,
and we raise the energy, and we just really let go and purge. It's very powerful. It's my favorite thing, and my husband Dan helps me with it, which makes it even more special, because this is his ancestral home. So it's lovely that we're doing something that honors the land and honors our ancestors by keeping the place alive as such, and keeping the place from falling down, which we did, which it was falling down before we renovated it. So it's a nice honoring of that,
Yes, so Holy Cottage is actually, so it has an important role to play in both your lives.
Absolutely.
Dan was born here.
His father was born here. His father was born here. Yeah. So it laid idle for 20 years, and Spirit kept showing it to us as a place to have a holistic center, and I kept digging my heels in, and we eventually got the courage and the push from Spirit during lockdown to start to renovate it. And when we started to renovate it, we were really lucky because everybody lined up to help us. All the builders, all the electricians were on site within a week once we had made the decision just like that. So that's what it is. It's
a lovely place.
It's got two.
I put up a photo of it.
A beautiful place.
Yeah.
And
there's lands around it where you do that.
That's it. So we use the land, just somebody grazes on the land, so there's nothing sprayed or anything on the land, which is lovely. Oh, wow. So what we gather is organic and natural, and it's pure. So and it's called Holly Cottage.
Yeah.
Holly Cottage Holistic Training Center, because there's holly growing all around the border.
The evergreen holly.
Yeah, and traditionally they would have planted the holly to protect the livestock against lightning and psychic attack. So when we were finding a name, it was obvious that this is what the name was going to be.
It's Holly Cottage always. Yeah, obviously.
And people would call it Holy Cottage, which is even funnier. By accident. That's funny too,
Yeah. Holy Cottage.
Holy Cottage.
If they only knew.
It is holy though.
It's of course it's holy. Yeah. So it's so this is your hub of activity. Yes. You're not doing much online work. It's really people getting here.
Yes.
The place is used. You use the place for your work every day.
Yes.
You have people coming on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I know I'm one of the few blessed ones that occasionally rents the cottage for a day when Mel is away. And the next session is the 12th of July.
12th of July, yeah.
So if you're interested, having a reading with me on the 12th of July in Holy Cottage in Cork, go to my website, jantetero.com, and click tarot reading coach for it, or look for Holy Cottage and Holy Cottage, not Holy Cottage.
Holy Cottage.
Holy Cottage. And have a reading with me. So that's all, and that's so lovely that you're not keeping it all for yourself, but that you share it, that we do this cooperation, and now you're inviting me here, and I invite you to the channel. So we have exchanged the invitations together.
Absolutely.
And it's so lovely to be here. The energy is so lovely. It's a beautiful little,
People come from all over the country to come here, from Galway, from Sligo, Dublin, Wexford, Wicklow, the farthest corner of West Cork that you can come. So I think we have a good bit of free parking. I think that helps as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Who has that nowadays? And you have off-road parking here at the location.
And the labyrinth in the front garden as well, so you can walk on that. So, yeah.
So, what aspects of your spiritual journey do you find most fulfilling to share and teach?
What aspects of my spiritual journey
is the most fulfilling to share and teach? What is that? Or like you fire on all cylinders.
I fire on all cylinders.
Yeah.
I think what's most inspiring for me is that people will come initially for one-to-one sessions, and I'll see them growing. I'll see them growing and healing themselves and evolving over time. And some go on to train and as therapists and go on to learn how to heal themselves and how to do ceremony and how to do different things. That to me is extremely rewarding because it's empowering others, and that's what's so important to me, is to help others to help themselves. That's really what's important. That's what makes my life worthwhile here.
Yeah, well, and you're doing a great job. The times that I was here, it was always a sold out house, and
Yes.
I remember a very interesting one where you took us on a journey into the sarcophagus in
Yes,
Egypt,
that's right.
and that was because you were telling people about a journey they could make to Egypt.
Okay.
Can you tell me a bit more? Because you've done this trip, and it was in February, I think.
Yes. So in February this year, 2025, I had the opportunity to take some students with me to Egypt on a spiritual tour that was being led by Berfolio Manley of Guiding Hand Tours. She's been doing tours for 25 years. So I brought a group of my students with me, and it was one of the most cathartic experiences I've ever had. We were there for 2 weeks, and we visited all of the usual sacred sites. You can see Yana sharing
The pyramids.
photos of me in bliss. Look at my eyes closed, in pure bliss in front of the pyramids. The energy of the pyramids is insanely amazing. And while I was there, I was tuning into the energy. I was tuning into the purpose of the pyramids, what they were built for. We went in to the Great Pyramid at 4:00 in the morning. We had our own private sacred time in the pyramids. This is what Burr organises and what we'll be doing again in October this year. So we have, so we went in at 4:00 in the morning. We were able to do our own little ceremonies and rituals in there. We had some singing, and we all got some healing. My students got incredible downloads as they were in there. Incredible downloads. And the minute I walked into the Great Pyramid, which is the King's Chamber, it's empty apart from the sarcophagus. My heart opened, and that was the start of everything, unfolding for me in Egypt. We came out then at daybreak, sunrise. It was stunning, just to be there by ourselves, So, and then we continued in. We visited the other pyramids as well, and the other sacred sites in Cairo before getting a plane to Luxor, and then traveling back up along the Nile on board our own boat. And while we were on our own boat, I was able to. This is Aswan, I think, in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So while we were on our own boat, and while we were staying in Aswan in one of the hotels, I was able to do some shamanic work with people and do some psychic detective work, some psychic seeing. And it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We did a spirit journey. We did a shamanic spirit boat journey to our past lives in Egypt while we were on a boat cruising down the River Nile. You couldn't get better than that.
Yeah.
It was magic.
So the whole journey was more or less visiting the sacred sites, going to the chambers physically, getting the downloads, getting the experience, getting the trance experience.
Yeah.
Then a boat tour over the Nile.
Yes.
Which must have been amazing. Yeah.
We stopped at the temples along the banks of the Nile, and
yeah.
they're connecting with the chakras. So we were connecting with the goddesses as we were connecting with the chakras. And sometimes I did journeys to connect with the goddess before or after we had gone to those temples.
Yeah.
I know. It was mind-blowing. I had a full clearing out as I was there, and I was clearing for a month afterwards. It was so worth it, though. It was so worth it. So I go again in October. I'm going on the 18th of October until the 1st of November.
So another 2 weeks.
Yes,
Same kind of journey.
another 2 weeks, same kind of journey.
New
people. So this time I can bring 14 people with me. So I can bring a bigger group. Now it's almost full. So if you're interested.
It's already almost full.
It's almost full. We're going in 4 months. We're going in 4 months. It booked up really quickly.
But when you see the pictures, it's so
incredible.
Enticing, you know, it's incredible. Yeah.
Because we visited markets and we visited healers, incredible healers, and people who dealt exclusively in sacred oils. And they were fascinating. Beautiful, beautiful people. Not every tour will give you those things, you know. So it's Bird goes way beyond her call of duty on these tours, and so I'm offering my healing and my shamanic and the psychic work on this tour in October for free. There's no additional cost or extra cost.
You're just there.
I'm just facilitating it. People are coming with me to learn with me, and I'm just happy to do it.
To be there. And, Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah. Well, you know, giving back is always beautiful.
Always beautiful. It always comes around.
So if anyone wants the place, the Mel's Facebook and Instagram are in the description of this video. You can contact her for things like dates, costs, and involved, and what all is involved, and they can book through you.
Absolutely, and people can come from all over the world. People are coming from the UK and from Spain the last time. So, you know, it's you don't have to be living in Ireland to connect in with us. We can do it we can bring everyone on board.
Perfect. You have the compliments here from David. You have a wonderful heart.
Oh, thanks,
David.
Energy. That's really nice.
Yeah. And talking about that, mediumship. And I meet a lot of people in my work. You meet a lot of people in your work. You meet a lot of people who are having this sense of becoming a medium. I'm one of the people who believes that everybody can be a medium, because it's I always say it's a bit like the radio waves or the Wi-Fi thing. You can't see it, but it's still there.
Yes.
And the only thing, so you have to learn is for your body. And I'm personally, I'm a strong believer that power resides in the pineal gland, in the middle of the skull. So very protected by the rest of the brains. That's where your receiver for psychic abilities is. What I know from a lot of people, they get these abilities, they don't know how to work with them, shut them down, and become with them. What advice would you have for someone who would like to do another path?
Okay. Yes, and that's a really great question, because that's been my experience too, is that people have gone into fear, or they haven't been able to have their experiences explained to them, and rather than seek help, they would have shut down. So spirit is our best teacher. If you can find a teacher near you, that's fantastic as well. The most important thing is to be grounded and to practice grounding. And then there's so much available on YouTube. There's so many teachers that give their teachings for free on YouTube. The most important part of development is a practice called sitting in the power. So you're sitting in the power of your own spirit, connecting with your own spirit, raising your vibration and connecting with spirit that way. So you're doing that for yourself first, and then you're preparing yourself to connect with spirit loved ones or to connect with spirit guides going forward. It's crucial. It's the first thing I teach people, sit in the power. It's what I did for a year, every day. Every day, my kids were small, And they'd come in, oh, Mom's sitting in the power, don't say a word, you know. I'd be sitting for half an hour.
Sitting is sitting in a meditative state. Is that something like that?
It's something like that, but the purpose is different. It's not to quieten your mind, but it's to connect with your own spirit within, and then connect with your spirit guides and create. It's like powering up a battery that you can draw on in the future. That's what I akin it to. And the other, I suppose, important thing is that, like you said, it's like a language. You know, we can all do it. How much we practice a language and learn about it and see how we can use it. That's how we develop our mediumship. We all have the ability to learn a language to some degree. We all have the ability to connect with spirit to some degree, depending on what we're able to what we're able to invest in it, you know, in our development.
Yeah, what I'm seeing a lot is that people get the most overwhelmed by the idea that their abilities are always on.
Oh yeah.
Is that with you the case? I have a big off switch
for
myself.
I have a big off switch as well.
Yeah.
I'm lucky in that when I leave the Holistic Center here, I automatically switch off when I go home.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like when at the beginning of my development, it was difficult to switch on and switch off, and I'd be sitting with people going, "Your grandmother's behind you," and it's not very conducive to a normal conversation. It's not very helpful either, because if you're always turned on, your battery's going to die. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. So when I'm working, I'm working, and when I'm not working, I'm not working. When I'm not working, I'm having fun.
Yeah,
when I'm working, I'm having fun as well.
Yeah.
But it's important that we preserve our energy. Yeah. And we're not like a dripping tap, you know.
I had an experience with someone actually asking me, "Have you read me yet?"
Oh.
I said, no, I'm not. Like you said, I'm not working now.
Not working.
No, it's off.
It's off.
Yeah, and I think that's also a very important aspect of learning to tap into it and learning to tap out of it.
Exactly.
So you can recharge, you can reload your power, and it doesn't overwhelm you. You don't get the overwhelm that will be there when you lose that, or when you can't use that ability.
Exactly.
And then you shut down completely, never to turn it on again.
Yeah.
And that's a waste.
And that's a waste.
And that's a shame.
It is. I think as well is that, you know, my golden rule for myself is that if I can help someone, I want to see stuff. If I can't help someone, I don't want to see. You know, so if people come to me for a therapeutic session, a healing session, I can see whatever needs to be seen, so that I can affirm it or talk about it with them, so that it can come up for healing and releasing. Otherwise, it's pointless me telling you everything you know about yourself already, unless you're going to do anything about it. You know,
that's it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and the healing work you do. So the healing work you do is on a spiritual and a mental and a psychological level.
Yeah.
Physical level.
Physical level as well. Yeah. So, because I work with Reiki and Psyche and Madeus Reiki, which is like a shamanic Reiki, and integrated energy therapy, which works on all levels as well. And when I do the trance healing, whatever is needed, spirit will do, whether that's physical healing or intrusions or whatever. They'll do that, as well as the shamanic healing will heal whatever needs to be healed. So it's all levels. It's all levels. Yeah.
All levels and all cylinders.
All firing all cylinders, healing on all levels. Yeah. In accordance with what people need themselves, they're regulating it.
I have some interesting comments for us.
Oh, great. Yes. Wonderful.
Claire, a regular visitor of our show, and recently she also was a guest in our show.
Cool.
Claire, sometimes I feel I have tinnitus, but other times I feel my brain is tuning the radio in. I don't always hear direct messages, but feel certain there is communication.
Okay. Did you miss the first part of that question?
Sometimes I feel I have tinnitus, which I actually have too.
Yes.
Yeah, I always have a little noise in the head. But other times it feels like my brain is tuning the radio in. I don't always hear direct messages, but feel certain there is communication. Okay. That's probably how we experience clairaudience.
Yes.
Don't you think?
I think when there's and sometimes when there's an upgrade or when there's an opening, we can have sounds. We can have that kind of a ringing in our ears. It can usually go, and like I find, like sometimes my ear will completely block up and I won't be able to hear. But then the ear and the throat chakras are all connected. So it's just about clearing stuff out. It's about paying attention to what's happening and finding out, is it medical? Is it spiritual? Is it energetic? What is it? And dealing with it on all of the levels is important.
Yeah. Firing on all levels.
Yeah.
We have a message from Karen as well.
Okay.
I have a question from Mel in 2 parts. I also have made contact with spirits on this land myself, on our own land. I always feel the energy first, and when I asked him his name, he said, "Call me Lou. My name is Lou."
That's wonderful. Is that the sun god Lou, is it?
Yeah, Lou's the sun god. Yeah,
that's wonderful, isn't it? Look at you, Karen.
Yeah.
What's the question? There's no question.
Yeah, there was no question yet.
Trust.
Yeah. Trust the process.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And we have another question. I've forever heard my friend who passed away last year. She either talks of sometimes uses her energy to flicker a light when she wants me to do something like find out a rugby score. I've a lot of experience with spirits messing with electrical light. That's true, huh?
Yeah. The one in the kitchen is always flickering, especially if we're doing mediumship.
I remember my dad already did it in the cortege. When we were driving home. He was from his funeral. He was already, okay, let me see you now.
I think when we're getting signs like that from spirit, then they're usually trying to tell us something. So if we ask more questions and ask for more signs, they'll bring us more signs. They'll drop feathers for us, or there'll be robins appearing, or blackbirds, or whatever. But we can work with them because they're desperate to communicate with us. Yeah. We're going around to sleep most of the time.
But if you open up for signs, like for instance, seeing a blue feather, well, blue feathers are very rare.
Yes.
But then sometimes you see them as feathers on the ground, or on a building, or on a truck. You see a blue feather. You think, oh, hey, that's my blue feather. If you focus on one of these things and you say, okay, this is what I want to see as a message from, and you name someone, and they pick something rare, and all of a sudden you see it.
You see it everywhere. My sister was sending me giraffes for a very long time. Giraffes. And all of a sudden, the giraffe logo or motif was on every single piece of clothing, napkins, everything. Giraffes. I cracked up. It was brilliant.
We have a question from Mark. Mel, I've missed seeing you. When are we getting back up together? As in seeing you with Karen and Jan online again. Regards, Mark.
All in divine time, Mark. All in divine time.
Yeah. We'll start up some new series, and we'll invite you to again.
Absolutely.
Make sure that you're there.
This would be wonderful.
Yeah. So I don't see any more questions coming up. So what's for you to wrap it up? What do you like most? What's the most rewarding of your life here in Holy Cottage?
I think I like to do the group work. I like to do group healing and long group healing sessions, day sessions of healing, because it gives a lot of people access to the energy and to the healing at one time. And it's a very powerful way to work with spirit. that's something that I think is really important for me, is that I can reach as many people as possible. And to have a space like this with 2 training rooms downstairs and an individual room upstairs for healing, it gives me all of the space to do whatever it is I want to do. And to have these groups coming in and people like yourself coming in as well for the tarot. It's when people come and they go out with smiles on their faces. It's when they go out knowing that they listened to their instinct and they followed through, and something happened or shifted or changed for them. That's everything. That's everything.
Yeah, and I noticed that the groups you have here, sometimes it's multiple days, a weekend session or something, 2 days or whatever. And you see these groups, you take pictures of them at the end with their angelic wings. Look up Mel socials. You'll find them there. But these groups, they seem to have bonded. They seem to have connected with each other. They've worked together on something similar, something growing together, finding out interesting things, because you all work with these interesting things. You open up things that you open up doors, inner doors that have remained closed for way too long for many of these people. And that's why they're so grateful and why they call you the real deal.
I've never heard that though.
Oh yeah, but that's maybe I've given too much away now. It's your secret nickname.
My secret nickname. I think people they come to train in IET, they come to train in psychic mediumship, in the shamanic stuff that I run. In the physical mediumship, all the different ways that I work, they come and they train in that. But unless we're having fun, I don't feel like that I'm doing justice to the work. We have to be having fun. We need to bring the lightness into what we're learning. And I think if people tap into that when they're here, it's light energy. And that's why I think people enjoy it so much. It's not me, it's the fun.
It's the fun. Well, that's a good high note to end this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you too,
Mel, for being here, for your insightful talk, and I thank all our viewers and listeners now and the ones in the future. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video too. Mel, I'm going to give you access to it so you can use it for your own purpose as well. And we see each other back next week with Luna again and the Druid for our last show for the summer break. So thanks so much, and looking forward to see you next week. Bye bye.
Thank you.